What is up? In this video, we're going to create some new products for our Shopify store, update the layout of our Shopify store to highlight some of the new products that we're making for upcoming holidays, and then we're going to create some free advertisements on 2 different platforms so that I can show you that you're able to do everything necessary to let people know about your new products for your print-on-demand business. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Javon. I'm a 6-figure business owner in Tucson, Arizona, and the entire point of this video, as well as the 2 videos that came before it, is to show you how easy and possible it is for you to create another stream of income for yourself as long as you have a computer, a phone, and an internet connection. My goal is to get this store to $3,000 a month with proven marketing strategies that I've been using for the past 6 years, and that's what we're going to do in this video today. Let's get started. So there's a bunch of different software that we can use to start making our designs for our online store, but I'm going to stick with 2. We have Adobe Express and Canva. Now, both of these do have a paid option, but we're not going to go with the paid or pro options. We're going to use the free ones. I will say this though, if you decided that you wanted to go with Canva Pro, you can actually get the 30 days completely free, and they'll give you a 7-day reminder before your trial actually ends. That being said, for the sake of this video, we're going to be going with the free option. Right now, it's January 28th, and that means we have Valentine's Day coming up next month, and the entire month next month is Black History Month. Because I know that, I want to make some items that are going to be clever based on the holidays, so people are a little more incentivized to buy whenever they go to the shop, and I want to make sure that it still aligns with the brand Jesus Driven or Jesus Driven Business. The first thing I'm going to do is just click on the More button right here, and from here we can see that there are a bunch of different things that we can actually make with Canva. What I'm looking for is some type of print or a mock-up. Another thing that we can do to check instead is to just look up mock-ups. I see there's an art wall mock-up and a wall art mock-up. I don't really like that. Let me exit out of this, and there's this search bar at the top, and I can look at mock-ups again. After searching, I see that there's a bunch of different types. We have bags, we have a mug, we have a t-shirt, and it looks like there is a hoodie. I think this is going to be okay for what I'm trying to do now. I'm actually not going to use these mock-ups for our final advertisements or anything like that. Step 1 is just creating the actual product itself. The whole point of me using a mock-up instead of like a blank square or something like that is so that I'll be able to see what the overall mock-up is going to look like later. Now, this template is a pro template. Most of these are pro templates, but if I scroll enough, I should be able to find one that is free. And here we go. There's actually one right here. I'm going to star it so I don't lose it. And I'm going to click to use my actual t-shirt template or hoodie template. Now, it's not going to be perfect. That's okay, once again, because what all we're doing is just creating something and getting a basic idea of how it's going to look for us. If I wanted to go back and do a different one, then I could do that too. And I mean, there's tons to choose from. You see, we have this t-shirt right here. This one is like a t-shirt with like some stuff, with like a zoom in so we can actually see the icon there. But I'm just focusing on hoodies because we're still in February and it's pretty cold in a lot of places. Now, I know that for this hoodie, I would love to have a Valentine's Day design on a white hoodie, and it's really good that it's white already, but I'm not really sure what I wanted to say. So I'm going to use another free tool in order to figure out exactly what kind of words I may want on here, basically so I can brainstorm. I'm going to open up Gemini by Google. You can also use ChatGPT. It works the same, and I'm just going to ask Gemini to give me some clever phrases for a Christian t-shirt brand around Valentine's Day. And here we go. After putting in that prompt, here are a few things that Gemini has come up for us. And there is a few things that I really like. So I'm actually wearing a hoodie right now that we created that says God is a designer. And so out of these designs, I think that Love a Divine Design is going to be solid. I also really like My Valentine Jesus and All You Need Is Love and Jesus. Now, we can choose a bunch, but I really think it's just good for us to make maybe anywhere between 3 to 5 different designs, 2 or 3 hoodies, and definitely 3 t-shirts. As a matter of fact, I think that's what we're going to shoot for. 2 hoodies and 3 t-shirts. That's what we're going to design. So I'm going to start with this one right here. All You Need Is Love and Jesus. I'm gonna do is go here and I can just delete all of this stuff. I don't think it's necessary at the moment. And from here, I'm just going to add a text box where I'm going to put the words that we really like, which is all you need is love and Jesus. I'm going to pick a font that I really like because this is going to be around Valentine's Day. Then I think it would be a good idea to make the wording like red, like a deep red, or maybe a pink or something like that. But I want to make sure that it's able to stand out from the white background. Now there are a ton of different fonts that Canva has for free. I'm just going to scroll through a little bit until I find one that I really like. I'm thinking that I want something that's a little softer and not too hard or not too sharp around the edges. And I think we found it. So all you need is love and Jesus. And I really like this font. I'm just going to put this under it. And to kind of make some final touches on this, I'm actually going to go to effects and then the curve tool. That's really curved. I'm just going to make this a little less awkward looking. So I do like that. I want and Jesus to be all you need to be under, all you need is love, and it doesn't seem like it's coming out that way. So I'm actually going to delete this and just create another text box, and we can put it in parentheses here, just like it was written before. Make sure that this is centered on the image, and we're going to take and Jesus and basically do the same thing. I really like how this looks. The next thing I'm going to do is just change the actual color of the font itself. Now this hot pink isn't really for me, but it is going to be a good starting point. We can take that and make it a little bit darker, maybe a little lighter. I still want it to be pink. Like I like this lighter pink right here, make it a little darker so it's easier to see from the background. And as you can see, it's actually added to our color palette in Canva, which I think makes it really easy for us to basically copy paste the same color when it comes to and Jesus. And that looks pretty good to me. It still might be a little difficult for people to read, so I'm going to go back to effects. From effects, we have this lift that I really like. I'm just going to put it at 15. This is just going to make it pop just a little bit, and I'll do the same thing at the bottom. And there we go. All you need is love and Jesus. Other than that, it's a pretty simple hoodie, very minimal. And I'm trying to get away from having Jesus-driven business on everything. I think this is a great compromise. We can have whatever the name of the actual company on the tag on the inside, which I'll show you later when we transfer this design over to Printify, which is our actual supplier for our print-on-demand store. Now, I really like this. It says his love endures forever, Psalm 136:1, and I think I'm going to find a way to incorporate that, maybe along with an infinity sign. I think that'll be really clever. So what I'm going to do is take the same design from the hoodie, and I'll just duplicate the page with this little corner right here, duplicate page, and boom, we have a second copy. And once again, it's his love endures forever. And I want to add maybe a infinity or something like that. Now we don't have a mock-up for the backside, and that's okay. I'm just going to add a page anyway. And if I want to get really fancy with it, I can recolor this page with one of the colors from the actual photo that we have up here. And I think that this gray in the back is going to be this one right here. And I think that's a solid match. Once again, the mockup that we have here in Canva is just for reference and isn't going to go into our actual site. So this is okay. It's just going to make sure that what we're thinking about is going to look relatively decent in our designs later. This is also why I'm not worried about the hoodie being black or brown or any other colors. A white background or white canvas for us to create our first design is perfectly fine. But if for some reason I wanted to change the color of it, all I would need to do is click here. There's the edit button, and then within apps, there's duotone, and I can change the color of the overall picture with duotone. Anyway, we're not worried about doing any of that stuff right now. We will get to using Canva in more depth later, and as well as Adobe Express in order to create some of our advertisements. But at the moment, we're still just creating some more designs. And we have all you need is love and Jesus done. The next one we're going to do is this one, his love endures forever, with the infinity sign. Now for this one on the front, I think that there's another design that I want to use that I've made previously. So it says Jesus loves you, and it's a heart. So I think I'm just going to look that up and copy paste that onto this hoodie. And after some looking, I found it. So I'm just going to pull up uploads for Canva and take the gray and black simple heart. That'll be the first design that we upload. As you can see, it's white, and that's perfectly fine. We can still add it to our design. And then if we edit the photo, we're gonna go back to our duotone tool and we can change the color here. I'm just going to click on custom, and from custom, we can change the highlight to black. If I want to make it a different color, I'll go back to duotone and maybe go with pop, which isn't the exact shade of pink that I want. I can pull it over until it's closer to the shade of pink that I really like. Or actually, after looking at it, I really like the purple for Jesus Loves You. Now from here, I can go ahead and rescale it. We're going to delete this. We don't need it for this hoodie, and just put the heart somewhere that we would like it to be on our final product whenever the time comes. Now, I have actually done some of this stuff already, as you can see, and I know that this is exactly where I want it to be. Even though it may look awkward in the mockup, I know when it comes to the final thing later, it's going to be good. Once again, this is just to get a decent idea of where it's going to look good on our hoodie once we go to actually designing it in Printify. Right now, we're just doing ideas and kind of warming ourselves up for making advertisements later. Now, this black square is going to represent the back of our hoodie. And from here, I'm just going to search for elements, and I'm going to look for an infinity sign and see if there's anything that matches with the kind of style that we have right here. And from the styles that are available, I really like this one, but it's a pro one. That's okay. We can just look for one that's free, that still kind of fits into what we want. Or we can even click on the pro one, and as you can see, it gives us some magic recommendations. If we see all recommendations, we can pick out some that may be free. Of course, there's going to be a lot of pro stuff because they want us to buy the pro thing, but we're sticking with free. We're not budging. After looking for a bit, I think I like this. I'm just going to turn it sideways so it looks a little better based on what I'm envisioning. Put it in the middle of our shirt, and then we can make another text box for the saying that we envisioned having on our shirt before, which is going to be that Psalm 136. This is kind of small, that's okay. We just come up here to increase the size. And I want this font to be the same as the font on this. Now, if I look at this, I think that this is going to be like, this is clearly some type of script or something like that. We want to keep this in solidarity with it since it's going to be on the same shirt. And for that, I'm just going to go up the top, click on handwriting. We see they have these different kinds, and I'm thinking that this is apricots. This looks pretty good to me, except for these parentheses. I think the parentheses look kind of weird. So I'm just going to take them away and put a little dash in between instead. And then just as before, we're going to go to effects and put a curve on this, so it goes with the actual curve of the illustration itself. After looking at it for a while, I am pretty happy with it, but obviously we need to make sure it's the same color as the other one. So what we can do is come here, and just as before, what we're going to do is, well, actually it's going to be a little bit different than what we did before. We're just going to click on our photo. We're going to go to edit, go back to duotone, and where that purple is, we want to actually copy paste this hex code right here. This way I don't need to really think about the actual color. I'm just going to have the color code ready for me. And then if I go back to text color, I can add color, and then I can just paste with Control V or Command V, depending on if you're on Mac or not. And that's going to change the color of the actual illustration. I'm going to kind of do the same thing with this. This is a photo, so it is going to require me to go to duotone, and from duotone, I can click on custom, highlights, and we can Command V this, and that should change the color of it. I see that it's still black, so I'm just going to Command V on the bottom, and boom, there you go. Now we have the same purple that we have in the other illustration. Also, I've already decided that I want to have a purple, pink, and red version for all of these. I also want to do black and white because black and white is on brand for me and for Jesus Driven Business. But outside of that, that's all I really want to think about, because I'll be doing the red hoodies, the pink hoodies, the purple hoodies, and the black and white hoodie. I think having all of these designs in black and white and red is going to be really good, as well as purple. At the end of the day, I just want to give people different options when it comes to the store. Our two hoodies are done. Now for our actual t-shirts, I'm actually going to go to Adobe Express just to show you guys how that works. Adobe Express is also free. At the top, I can do the same thing and search mockup, and it actually comes up on this list right here. So mockups t-shirt, I'm going to click on that. It's going to think about life for a little while, and there you go. There are some mockups for t-shirts. I like this design asset right here where we have both the front and the back of the t-shirt. So that's what I'm going to click on. we're going to create new, and we're going to heart this instead of starring this so we can have it for regular use later. Now, because they know that we're going to be using this for something later, I'm going to go with an Instagram square post. Got it. For whatever reason, this came up, the video analytics stuff. I think that's super weird. I don't really like that. It says that I'm previewing a premium asset in my project, and I don't want to start a free trial. So what I'm going to do instead is just take all of this stuff that says video analytics, and we can just delete all of that stuff. And it looks like the stuff that it randomly added for us, which I do think is pretty weird. Like, I will say that Adobe Express isn't my favorite. I prefer Canva, but Adobe is something that people like for whatever reason. And that's the reason why we're using it in this video. I'm going to upscale my t-shirt, and I actually really like the designs that we made already. So I'm just going to make t-shirt versions of those. And in order to do that, all I'm going to do is go to Canva. I'm actually just going to click on this. I'm going to copy, go to Adobe Express, and press paste. Now, as you can see, it doesn't look exactly the way it did when we were in Canva, and that's okay. This is still a good, solid starting point. We can change our font just as before. I'm looking for a softer font. We can avoid all the ones that are premium. And actually, after looking around, I'm changing my mind. I really like this one right here. That looks pretty good to me. Now for the text layout, I'm going to go with an arch. There is a recommended arch, but I can also press this scale button. And I think that's going to be it. Honestly, I would keep going with this, but I think Adobe Express may just be better suited for just creating the actual advertisements as well as documents and stuff like that. Like, Adobe Express is great when it comes to having like a free PDF user, like if you want to use something for reading PDFs and editing PDFs. But I don't think that this is going to be a piece of software that I want to use extensively for creating mockups at the very least. So what I think I'm going to do instead, for the two designs that we already made in Canva, I'm going to make t-shirts with those same designs. Like, that's perfectly fine. And then I'm going to create a completely new design on Adobe Express. So for all intents and purposes, we have 4 pieces of clothing right now. I just want you to imagine that all you need is love, and Jesus is on this hoodie and on a t-shirt, and Jesus loves you. His love endures forever. Like, this is also on a hoodie and a t-shirt. For this last design, I actually don't think I want to do another Valentine's Day post since we're already good on those. We have 2 designs for Valentine's Day. What I want to do instead is something for Black Friday. Just as before, I'm going to take the same prompts that I used for Gemini before, but this time, instead of Valentine's Day, we'll change it to Black History Month. I don't really like any of these sayings, so I'm just going to say give me more. And immediately what I'm seeing is fearfully and wonderfully made, celebrating Black beauty. I don't think that's necessarily needed, but fearfully and wonderfully made, I'm wondering if that's actually a reference anywhere, so I'm just searching that. And yes, I can see that it's Psalm 139:14. Now, I know that fearfully and wonderfully made is something that I've heard a lot growing up, but I didn't know exactly where it's from. Because it is Psalm 139:14, this fits the idea of it aligning with our brand, as well as being a phrase that I would consider to be used a lot, particularly in the Black Christian community. I really like that, so I think I'm going to make a design around this. Now back here, I want this t-shirt to be a little bit more of a graphic tee, so I can start looking up some assets or something like that. If I go to elements, there's going to be different things that pop up, and I'm actually going to look at icons. I really like the idea of a rose in a sidewalk or something like that. So if I can find a rose as line art, then we can add that to the design. Now, I think this rose in particular is going to work pretty well. There are a few other variations that are on it. I'm not super crazy about them. So what I think I could do is crop these out, see how I feel about just having one. I think that's okay. We're going to take this picture and see if we can edit it. Let's go with theme, and so we're going to select it. This menu is going to come up, and from adjustments, we can see that there are some changes we can make to the brightness and contrast and stuff. And I think that's what I'm going to do and see if that makes any difference. Now, I really think there needs to be a better way. So I'm just looking through Adobe Express, and I admit that Adobe Express is not a program that I use as often as I use Canva. And there we go. From effects, it does look like there is duotone, just like there is on Canva. I'm going to click on that, and this purple that it's recommending, actually seems great for what we're going for. And I think I'm also going to turn these highlights to purple as well. The down arrow has more colors, but it looks like there's just palettes. It's really kind of disappointing that I can't choose a specific hex code, or that they don't have like a gradient kind of wheel or something like that, so I can be more specific with the color that I want to choose. Anyway, I think I'm going to select this purple right here, and same thing on this side. Now that purple's a little too saturated. I like this pastel purple a little more. I think I'm going to stick with that. And we're going to stick with the same thing that we had, or the same sentence that we used before, this fearfully and wonderfully made, Psalm 139:14. And we can do that by just copying this and going back to Adobe Express. We're going to add text, add your text, and Command V for fearfully and wonderfully made. I'm not a fan of this font, but I am actually a fan of the orientation. I don't think I'm going to curve this one. And I really want to find something that looks like handwriting, so it matches the actual rows that we have for our illustration. After looking up and down, I think that Great Vibes is what's really going to fit best based on what I have in mind, although I'm not super crazy about it. I'm going to shrink this down, and I'm going to change it to this. That just looks a little better to me. We're going to take the words themselves and change the color by going to Fill, Custom, and wow, okay, there we go. We actually have a color wheel that we can use. I'm going to grab the pen tool and look for the purple that we have in our illustration. So I think it's going to be that purple right there. That looks pretty good to me. I'm going to shrink it down a little bit more, make this text box smaller so it's easier to manage. And I do really like that. Now, I think I actually want to have Jesus Loves You on here as well, and then maybe have Psalm 139 on one of the sides of the heart, something like that. I think that would be really cool, and it would it would add a little bit of variation between the hoodie and this. Now we have our heart for Jesus Loves You. I just want to change the color, so we're going to go to Effects and see if we can't duplicate the same color that we have on the color. Go to Fill, and where the code is, I'm going to copy it to clipboard, exit out of it, click back on my heart, back to Effects, Custom, and we can just paste the code for our heart. Now the highlights are still that weird green, same thing, paste there, and that is the purple I am looking for. We can make it smaller, put it in the corner of our shirt, and I think this Psalm 139 will look really good in the upper right hand corner. So I'm just going to duplicate this box so we have the same font and all of that good stuff. And just to make sure we have the same verse, I'm going to copy this Psalm 139:14, Adobe Express, backspace, 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 and Control V. We have 139, and we're just going to write Psalm 139:14, right? From here, I can make this just a little bit smaller. It doesn't need to be the same size as everything else. And I'm going to put it next to the rose, or the flower, whatever you want to call it. That's a little too close to the armpit, so I want to pull it in just a little bit more. That's a little more center, and make it a little smaller. Now I think overall I'm pretty happy with this design. So we have the Fearfully and Wonderfully Made shirt. We also have two other designs that we made, right? So his love endures forever, Psalm 136, and All You Need Is Love. And I think I'm good with these designs. So now it's time for me to just download these assets and start producing them in Printify. In order to do that, I'll just take the backgrounds that I used for reference before, and I'm actually just going to delete them. Now, all we're left are our assets themselves. I already have this heart, so I can delete that heart. And then I can take this and make it bigger because it'll make it easier to mess with later. If I'm happy with the size of it, I can just click on download PNG for best images. If I'm happy with it, just make sure that it fills up as much space as possible. This is going to keep the resolution high whenever we're ready to actually add it to our clothing. And we can download as a PNG or a JPG. I recommend PNG because the amount of data that it uses is going to be less. After that, we'll just click download, and there we go. We have our Psalm 139 design. And for our Canva designs, it's going to essentially be the same thing. So his love endures forever. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm just going to make this bigger and drag it so I can see the whole design. And for all you need is love, I'm going to delete the background like I said before and make all you need is love as big as possible so that it stays high quality when I'm ready to add it to my shirt later. From here, that's centered. I'm pretty happy with that. We don't need the heart. That's not necessary. I can even delete this completely if I really wanted to. As long as I have the design up here, I'm good. And since I'm happy with these two designs, I can just export them together by going to share, download, and as you can see, transparent background is actually a premium feature and it wasn't even an option on Adobe Express. That's perfectly fine. And we're just going to take these and download them as is. And this is going to be 1500 by 2000 pixels, which is great. That means it's going to be a high resolution image and we can just download these as is. I'm going to open up this folder just to make sure that everything is there. And if I'm happy with it all, then I can go to Printify and start uploading my designs on the things that I want. From Printify, I'm going to go to my store. And I want to make sure that I'm using the same t-shirts that I was using before. So what I'm going to do is go to my products. And I know I'm happy with these t-shirts because I tested them before. So I'll just go to more actions. And from here, I can see that this is a shirt that I already like. And I've actually bought this shirt before and tested it for myself. It is something that I own, and I really do think it's a really high quality shirt. So I'm going to continue using this design. And what I'll do is just duplicate it. And I can see right here, it's copy of God is a Designer unisex garment tee dye shirt. And this is going to be the one that I'm going to edit. And thankfully, it's unpublished. The other thing that's really good about doing it through this method is pretty much all the details about the shirt are already there. I just need to make sure to change the title and everything later after we change the actual design. So for our variants, I actually am only going to have white, black, red. I'm going to take away mustard and hemp. I don't need that for this one. Seafoam isn't necessary. I do think that crunchberry is going to be a good color for this, as well as violet. Now, in the last step, I actually forgot to make white and black variations in my design, so I'm going to go and do that now. I also think I'm going to make a dark red. I'm going to go back to Canva, and for infinity, I'll just duplicate it, and I'm going to click on this color right here, this color wheel right here, and we'll start with white. And I also want to make a black variant, so we're going to do that same process, but for the black. So now we have black, white, purple. I also want to have a dark red. So one more time, we're going to duplicate the page. And on our duplicate, we're just going to pick a deep red. I really like this maroon right here. I can copy this because it'll make it easier whenever I go to change it on this next one. Duotone, custom, and we're just going to paste the hex code for our red. And there you go. We have a dark red, we have a black, and we have a white. I want to do the same thing with all you need is love. So we have this in pink. For this one, we don't need as many variants. I'm just going to make this one in white. Next, we're going to do the same thing with this design on Adobe Express. And we can do that by clicking add right here. And we're going to click duplicate. It's going to duplicate a completely different page. And from here, we can change the color by going to fill and looking for that red that we want. We can also take the hex code that we were using before and paste it. Hex codes are pretty much universal. Effects, custom, paste, and one last time, we're going to go where it says fill and paste. Now we have red, we have purple, and I think this design would also be good in white. I don't think that we need to have a black version of this design. So let's duplicate the page one more time and change everything to white. Effects, custom, white. And highlights are also going to be white. Just so that we're able to see this last one, I want to make the background color black. Since we can't make transparent backgrounds, That looks pretty good to me, and we'll go ahead and download these the same way we downloaded everything before. And it looks like we have those. Let's just make sure we're doing the same thing with Canva. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different designs that we need to get. I want to also make this background black. And if I'm good with that, I can hit download again. I'm also going to move this up since I already downloaded these two. And 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to download, so I'm just going to click on the download button, and it's going to ask me if I want all pages. The answer is no, I don't want 1 and 2. I'm just going to take these and press done and download. I pretty much have all of my files now. Now I'm good to go on Printify and start putting everything together. Okay, so from here I can go to my device. I have all of these cool new folders. And from here I can see, all right, that's an older design that I don't want right now. I can sort by date added. These are my designs from today. It doesn't really matter which one that we start with. I think that I want to actually start with the white infinity just because we have the purple already up. And as you can see from here, we have this horrible box, right? And usually that would be a problem, but it's actually not because we have the option to make our background transparent. In Printify, we're just going to go to this tool right here that has remove background in the upper left, and then we'll click on quick remove. It's going to think for a little bit, and as you can see, boom, our background is now been removed. We can click apply, and there you go. Now I just realized that I actually want this design on the back of my shirt, so I'm going to delete it, and then I'm going to make sure to upload the correct thing, which is going to be the heart that we have created before. If I go to my library, I should have the heart already uploaded somewhere. And we are done. We have 2 hoodies and 3 shirts for February that are perfectly ready. And I think this is going to fit as more of a Valentine's Day collection than a Valentine's Day / Black History Month collection, which means there will be some more designs that we'll be doing later for Black History Month. Anyway, it's time for the next step, which means taking some of the photos that we have here from Printify, downloading them, and then using them to make some new banners and whatnot for the website. If I want to download photos, I can just click on the photo for the product that I want to download for, and look for some of the pictures that I really like. I think this one right here is cool. I'm just going to save this to downloads. Same thing with the backside. I'm going to save it to downloads. Now, I don't need every single picture. I'm just going to get some that I think are going to be really good for the advertisement that I'm thinking of making. I think this shirt is definitely going to stand out since there isn't a hoodie variant of it, and we're only going with a t-shirt for this specific design. I think that's going to be pretty good. Next, I'm just going to go back to Canva and pull up a board specifically for banners. I already have one made, so I can go back there and just start replacing the photos that are on this banner that I made previously with our new designs. I'm just going to upload files, downloads, and take the designs that I have right here and upload them accordingly. After that, I'm just going to drag each one of the photos that I want to replace. And that's pretty much it. Now, of course, I can do this same design over, or I can make something different and more creative. And I do think I'm going to make some more creative stuff. Instead of taking you guys throughout the entire creative process, I'll just say that after this, we'll be uploading it to the actual site to change out all of the layouts and banners and all of that good stuff. All right, so in order to do that, I'm just going to download this, head back over to Shopify. We're going to click on Online Store, hit Customize for our theme, and where the winter collection is currently, we'll change it to the Love Collection. We're also going to take the picture that's there currently, and we're going to select from Library, add images, and upload our new image. I also want to take the holiday collection, and I'm going to replace this with featured, And where it says browse our latest products, I want to have an actual advertisement for this as well, a different banner than just this logo, the JDB Media logo on a sign. So I think I'm going to go back and make a banner specifically for that back in Canva. Now, this is going to be our first post for Instagram and Facebook. It's going to be just a static post, but a carousel, particularly for Instagram. And what will happen is this is what people will see first, which one is your favorite. And when they swipe, they'll see the first design, then the second one, then the third one. And on the fourth slide, it says, get yours on our website, jesusdriven.store, 10% off with code Valentine. And that's it. That's the post. Now I'm just going to download this and upload it to Instagram. Now this is just one advertisement. The intention is to have at least one advertisement a day coming out for our store. Realistically, 2 to 3 ads a day would be best. And I think this video is long enough. I don't think I need to take you through every single advertisement I'll be making, but essentially this is what we'll be doing in order to start doing some outreach for our store on social media. And we have our emails in place for new subscribers, as well as the site itself being updated. That's going to pretty much be this entire video. It did take a little over a day, maybe 2, to actually create this. So I apologize for the delay, but we are getting it done. And you can expect a follow-up and update for this video in about a month, maybe a little longer than that. It just depends on what else we have going on. Anyway, I'm Javon. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps you start and market your online store, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.